Okay, good morning and welcome, wicked smart listeners, to another episode here. I get to hang out with my friend, Mr. Daniel St. Jean. He's a Canadian. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but I want you guys to really tune in to what's going on in the market. And I'll address this in my next solo cast, which is coming up here for you. But we've got an unprecedented time in real estate in general, but in creative real estate, because we're hitting kind of a first on a lot of fronts. Okay, we've got some chaos going on with an election. Once again, we've got some uncertainty because of that. We've got interest rates that are still not high historically. They're at like the 50-year average, give or take, but they are high for a lot of you. And then you've got the media screaming quite incorrectly. And I actually did a video recently on YouTube and stated headlines for like the last 6 years, I think it was, where they were so incredibly wrong. And so I could go on and on and on, but the fact is, you're tied to the right group, you're tied to the right podcast, and we would love to see you live at our QLS live event this September 2024. It's the 9th annual, but this is the first time we're pulling it out of Rhode Island. I lost out this year to my team and my family, and they said, you got to put it in Boston. It's easier for everyone. So September 23rd and 24th, and because I dragged so many of you to Rhode Island all those years, I want to give you a 50% off ticket. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS live. And use the coupon code podcast50, podcast50. Okay, buckle in here while we bring you the next Wicked Smart Masters class. I'm going to hang out with Daniel St. Jean. Daniel's a past friend of mine. I've been on his show. He's been on mine. I've done presentations for his group in Canada. He was born in Montreal. He now resides in wine country, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, with his wife, Laura, for the last 20 years. He wrote and self-published a book called Milking Cookies for Success. You know, it's funny. I picked up another book that was titled years ago, Feeding the Sacred Cow or something like that. I only picked it up because of the name. So I couldn't wait to say the title. He did that in 2005. So Milking Cookies for Success. It became a bestseller in Canada. He actually received his last paycheck. Now, again, this is a common theme I want to bring to you guys a lot. He got his last paycheck from an employer in October of 1986. Okay, I was married in 86. That was a long time ago, 38 years ago. He's been an entrepreneur since. So we got a lot of things that we can glean from this conversation I'm about to have with him. He's owning art galleries. He's a publishing company. In the last 12 years, he's been fully immersed in real estate. So as an entrepreneur, he brings so much to the table. He actually started a club in 2016. I was actually on the podcast talking about this, called the REITE Club, and that stands for Real Estate Investing, Training, and Education. And he currently has over 4,000 members there. He loves sharing his knowledge, as you'll see, and he's super passionate about what we're doing. So enjoy our chat here. All right, guys, I want to make sure to remind you about our QLS Live event. We've been hosting this thing since 2016 in a basement, and now we have a brand new facility in Boston, Massachusetts this year, 2024. It's going to be September 23rd and 24th. That's a Monday and a Tuesday. It makes it easy for travel. It is literally right next to the airport. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS Live. And use the coupon code podcast50. That's going to give you 50% off. I'll see you there. All right, Daniel, with that as a backdrop and a little bit of an intro, welcome back to the show. It's been years since we chatted.
Yes, it's been a while.
Good to see you, sir. Good to see you way out in Canada. Where are you today? Because I never know with you. Last time I talked to you on vacation.
Well, yes, last time we were on vacation in Mexico, but now I'm in my living room back there, and this is Niagara-on-the-Lake, just on the other side of the border.
Love it. So you are where I thought you are. Okay. Daniel, let's do this. There's a bunch of things I want to dive into in our short time together for the wicked smart listeners. One is just a little bit of a backdrop and an update for me of where you are today. Like, what are you doing today? You haven't worked, as I just said, for an employer in years. And by the way, that's the year I got married, so I knew right away it was 38 years. Talk about what you're doing now and what's going on, and then I want to talk about that your tips.
Yes, well, so last time I had a paycheck, meaning working for somebody, was 1986. So it's been a while. Pretty much been an entrepreneur since. Own an art gallery, a publishing company, did a whole bunch of other things, but since 2010. Real estate investing is our business. And we did that because at the time both my wife and I lived in Ottawa, the capital, and both of our income, which was very, very nice, comfortable income, was tied to Ottawa. I work as a contractor for the federal government, and my wife was a IT consultant for a lot of companies. And this is a long story, which I will make really short. We ended up having to move from Ottawa to Niagara-on-the-Lake, the wine region, Eastern wine region in Canada, because my wife was going back to college full-time to become a winemaker. And that meant we needed to be able to earn money not being in Ottawa. So a set of circumstances took us to real estate, and we launched a company in 2010. By 2013, we were making enough cash flow every month that we could kiss Ottawa goodbye, and we moved to Niagara-on-the-Lake. And so we've been doing real estate investing for the last, 10 years now, 12 years.
I love it. So I guess I'd love you to share, and you could probably do it for hours, but think of something that you could share with the Wicked Smart listeners who are in a JOB right now, because there's so many of them, and I just rack my brain on this all the time. Like, what would you tell them if you're sitting in a room of 100 of them or 500 of them, and you said, here's a number 1 or 2 or 3 things that you should be thinking about to make that transition?
Well, the one thing that we've learned by talking to a lot of people over the years is why are they not doing this? Is the fear. And I was having a conversation yesterday with a buddy of mine, and we thought it was actually, well, not funny. That's not the right word. But let's take Bob as an example, who's 19, and he's going to commit to a 4-year university. What is it in the state? Costs at least $100,000 for 4 years of education to get a degree. And something that he may or may not, that may or may not give him a living. And yet there's not a whole lot of fear there. That's what they're going to do. Then, now he's 22 and he's going to get married. Well, that's a commitment. And, there should be a lot of fear attached to that, but usually there isn't. And then 2 years later, he's going to start a family, and that's a lifelong commitment. So what I'm trying to say here is that university expenses, getting married, kids, and they do it, but then they won't pull the trigger on buying a $300,000 house that they're going to cash flow $600 a month. Hello? Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, it's really, compared to starting a family or getting married, buying a house, man, you buy the house, and if after, 18 months it's not working out for you, you call your real estate agent and you put it on the market, and so you either break even or you lose a few $1,000, and then you call that education, which is much cheaper than university. And then you just say that was not for me, and you move on. So what is the problem with not pulling the trigger? I don't know.
I love how direct you are with that. That's how I feel. Nicely done. Okay. So let's transition, because it'll be the same advice sort of that we could help all the Wicked Smart listeners with. You wrote a book that I mentioned just a second ago in the intro, but most importantly, which I didn't mention, you have what you call TIPPPPS. Could you explain that? I think it's really cool.
Well, yeah, it's an acronym actually, TIPPPPS, which is thoughts, ideas, principles and practices for personal and professional success. Now, in the book, I use the word success on the title, but in reality, throughout the book, I don't talk about success. I talk about success serenity, which is a word that I coined. It's trademarked. And because from my point of view, success is okay, but it's only halfway there. If you don't have success serenity, to me, it's not good. And when it's success serenity, it's making your life what you want it to be for you. So if you're a successful lawyer because your father was a lawyer or is a lawyer, and your brother is a lawyer, but it's not really what you want to do, you'd rather be a pro golfer, then you may have people around you will think of you as having success. But when you close your eyes at night and you go to sleep, you're not experiencing success serenity, because you're not living your life exactly the way you want it to be.
I love it. And let me ask you this. If someone's, because that might have struck a chord with someone. If someone said, wow, that's me, I'm not in the right spot, what are some suggestions for them?
Well, that's a hard one to answer, Chris, obviously, because every single person would have a different set of circumstances. I mean, in some cases, leaving the law firm to become a pro golfer could be something easy, but in many cases it would not be. But here's the thing. Success serenity is achieved over time. It's not like you're waking up this morning and going, okay, I'm having success, but this is not good enough for me. Tomorrow start doing. It's a process. Like it took us, once we decided to move here, it took us 3 years to build a business to the point where we were able to move here, and now we're totally happy. And Laurel is experiencing success serenity. Everything she does has to do with wine. Actually, right now, as I'm speaking with you, she's in Bulgaria, and then she's going to go to Romania, and then that all has to do with wine. So it's doable, but you gotta make the commitment, and then it's going to be a process. But man, I tell you, when you reach and you experience success serenity, it was worth all the efforts.
I love it. I'm thinking of two things here as far as your journey, Daniel. So what real estate were you focused on when you made that transition? Because you said, I set a plan, took 3 years. What kind of real estate entering and exiting were you doing? And has that changed today? Are you doing different things today in real estate?
Yes. So what launched us in real estate investing was a weekend seminar by Rich Dad Poor Dad, and the trainer, I can call him that, really was sold on rent to own or lease option, rent to own. So he talked about it a lot. And by the time I was finished with the weekend seminar on Sunday, A, we had decided that was our ticket to leave Ottawa, and B, rent to own was going to be the strategy. So over the next 10 years, we did 51 of those deals. We still have 6 in place right now, but they'll be gone by the end of this year. And then we also did a nice little move there when we came here from Ottawa looking for a home to buy for the next year. We came to a development where they were going to be building another 50 houses, and then the development was going to be done and finished. And it's a very, very desirable area. So we put a deposit on one house, which was going to be our home. And then Laurel woke up the next morning and said, you know what, I think there's potential here. So even though rent to own was our strategy, what about buying hold? And then we talked about it, and then we came back to the office and we put deposits on 11 more houses. So we bought the whole block, all 12 of them, and it turned out to be a really, really, really good deal eventually. So we hired a property management company. We did executive rental, and and then when we sold those houses in 2019, we sold 8 of them, and we made $1.22 million on the profit. So it was a good move.
Bravo! Yeah, very cool. I love that. I remember that you did rent to own, so that's really cool. And then you're still in that same space. It sounds like you love that. If you were to do a deal tomorrow, you'd stay in that same space.
We're not doing rent to own anymore. It's simply the market is too crazy. And also 2 reasons. One is, see, when you do a rent to own and it's going to be a 3-year deal, you need to decide as you're signing the agreement with the tenant buyer what you're going to sell them the house in 3 years. Well, in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, it was easy because you'd add, at least in the area where we were doing the deals, you'd add 6% a year. And we were almost dead on every time we were selling a house. At the end, that was the value. But now, up, down, crazy. I'm not 100% familiar with the U.S. market, but here it's in Ontario, up, down, flat, up. So I would have no idea when I'm going to sell them that house in 3 years. So we decided to pull back. But also because for the last 3 years, I've been mostly busy raising funds for projects in Costa Rica, in Nova Scotia, a development project for a developer friend of mine, and also an energy project in Greece. So this is where I'm focusing right now. I have a nice network, and I am raising funds for a commission for those people, and it's going very well.
That's awesome. So there's where your energy's simmering right now, it sounds like. That's awesome. Exciting. Yeah. Go ahead, Daniel.
But one of the tips that I was going to share today has to do with networking. the importance, the importance of having a network. What was this guy? What was his name? Okay, hold on a second here. The name, Porter Gate, when he said your network is your net worth. And people don't realize once you have a network, you can tap it into what I call the OPs. That means other people. So OPM, other people's money. OPT, other people's time. OPC, other people's credit. OPK, other people's knowledge. OPN, other people's network. And OPE, other people's experience. Having a network, to me, is the key to success, but also to success serenity, because once you can tap into the other people's thing that I just mentioned, everything's possible. Can I tell you a very quick story here?
Yeah, I love it.
So July 2022, we're in the middle of the summer. We're on vacation at a cottage. And I call him my Greek tycoon calls me. It's like 10 o'clock. He says, I know you're on vacation, but he says, do you think there's any way you could raise $1 million for me by next Wednesday? I need to blah, 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 blah. So I said, oh, God, come on. I'm on vacation. It's summer. It's beautiful. Who's going to be reading my emails? So I think about it for a while. We have a conversation. He tells me what he wants. Okay. All right. Let's do this. So by 11 o'clock, I come up with an offer. And then I go on Zoho and I send it to my, 4,600 people at the time. And so things start happening in the afternoon, a little bit in the evening. I get a couple of phone calls. Same thing on Sunday. I've given people up to 1 o'clock on Monday to put the money in my account. Otherwise, I close the deal. So anyway, we go home on Sunday because that's the end of the vacation. I write all the agreements with the people. I go to the bank on Monday and in the afternoon, and I wire him in the States $1.75 million. So that was what I found for him. Over 50 hours on a summer day and the weekend. And of course, then I wrote him an invoice for 6%, which was $105,000. So not a bad take for a weekend vacationing at the cottage. But the only reason why that happened is because I have a network and I have credibility and I make offers and people, people take advantage of the offers. So the network is the key to everything as far as I'm concerned.
So how does someone, let's hit this for a second. How does someone, if they have zero network right now, how do they even start? And this is interesting because the guest I just had before you was onto this network a little bit as well. And you guys have nothing to do with each other. You probably don't even know each other. And so this is super important. How can they start?
Well, the first thing is, okay, so first of all, it's a little more difficult these days. I'm not saying impossible, a little bit more difficult because a lot of what used to be live events are now online. And it's a little more difficult to connect with people online. But I still go to live events at least once a week. I used to go 2, 3, 4 times a week. And then, of course, we started our own club, which is what the banner behind here is. And so we started our own real estate investing training and education club. And then people came to us instead of me going to their event. But, and that was a good part of growing a network. But just, I don't care if it's BNI breakfast in the morning. I don't care if it's Chamber of Commerce. I don't care. There's whatever profession you're in, there's got to be some group, if you're into wine, find a wine group in your area. Just find places where you can go and meet people and chat with people and talk with people and, collect a few business cards. And one thing here very important about networking, a lot of people think of networking as a hunting expedition. That is the wrong approach and the wrong attitude. Networking is about gardening. It's about quality of leads, not quantity. I could drive for an hour to a meeting and then come back with 2 cards, that I have actually spent time talking with people, and then something's going to happen. Or I could come back with 12 cards and I could call them the next day and they would not remember me. That's a waste of time. So quality over quantity. And then once you've got those people in your network, then you start growing. That's why we say growing a network here. It's not hunting, it's gardening. So you water the seeds, and then you grow the relationship, and then they introduce you to somebody else. And then you start with 10, and first thing you know, there's 20 people in your network. First thing you know, there's 100. And then eventually, it'll be a really nice size network. So joining groups is to me is the key. Just find anything and go out there and meet people.
I love it. And is your club, I mentioned it in the intro, and it's right behind you there, REITE Club. Is that all online, all live, both? What's going on with that lately?
Well, for the first 5 years until March 2020, we had monthly meetings, Burlington, Ontario. But now we've done, and then of course we were kind of shut down for 2 years, and then we've done a few. We are mostly online now, but we are restarting. We're working actually right now on a schedule for September, October, November, and all of next year. We're going to go back to live events because we are asked every week by some of our members to be getting live, belly to belly again.
And can they still go to that site that I see behind you for the ones that aren't on YouTube? Is it okay to leave that site on my show notes?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And the membership is free, by the way. So, tons of information. We just released podcast number 250 something. I know it's not as many as you, but we haven't been doing it as long as you have.
Yeah.
Still 256 or 257 or something like that. So lots of information. And again, membership is free, and it's www.thereite.com. That's it.
Right. And that's right behind you. For those of you watching YouTube, if you're not watching YouTube, I'm going to say it again, and you can get it in the show notes, thereiteclub.com, and REITE is spelled REITE, so thereiteclub.com.
And it's pronounced the REITE Club.
The REITE Club. Sorry about that. Sorry.
That's all right.
I don't get them all right, between the accents. This has been great. Every answer you gave was like could have been a mini seminar, and I know it's because you have so much experience. Is there any other way you'd like them to be able to reach out to you, Daniel? Speaking of network, share anything you want that we didn't hit upon, and then I'm going to ask you for sort of a last nugget that I may not have asked you.
Well, again, the REITE Club is where any kind of training. Well, actually, REITE stands for Real Estate Investing Training and Education. That's what we do. So There's a lot of information there, and people can reach me through there. And I'm always happy to add people to my network and join their network. So just connect with me.
Love it. Daniel, what did I not ask? Because you and I have been around for a while. What did I not ask you that you'd love to share so we don't leave anything on the table, so to speak? Anything at all? Anything that you want to share that I didn't ask you? Anything, any last minute thoughts or nuggets?
Yes, because the last tip I was going to share, which to me is the most important of all, network. Yes, important, but time. So here's my big TIPPPPS for people listening today. Don't spend time to save money. So when we lived in Ottawa, we would often drive on Sussex Drive, and then there's a nice building there, which is the Canadian Mint. And I'm sure there are those in the U.S. as well, where they print the money and make the coins. So the point here is that there is a building somewhere in Canada, and there are some in the States and everywhere else in the world, where they actually, quote unquote, manufacture money. But there is not one building anywhere on planet Earth where they manufacture time. Time is a limited resource. Time is a limited resource. Money, hey, I can find 1.75 million over a weekend. I'm not saying everybody can do that, but money is out there. So when I find people don't get this, they will, for example, they're a one-man band, right? They're doing their own property management. They go and remove the snow on their property. They mow the lawn in the summer. They do their own bookkeeping and so on and so forth. Why? To save money. Excuse me, you can find money anywhere, but you cannot find time. So why would anybody, think about this, why would anybody spend a limited resource, time, to save an unlimited resource, money? Please find Right now, we have 9 people. Every month, at the end of the month, we have 9 contractors billing us for different things. And you know what? This is why Laurel can travel to, last year she was gone for like 4.5 months out of the year. And she can do that. And most of the time I follow her. Why? Because we have people we're using other people's time. And we find the money to pay them. And then we use other people's time to give us more time. Please don't spend time to save money. That is utterly stupid when you sit down and really think about it.
There's about 10 quotes there that you probably saw me scribbling, and I took note of them. So again, thanks for all your years of wisdom, Daniel. Super neat to talk to you again. And I know you're chatting with my son-in-law and partner, Zach, about doing some fun things together with our community. So I look forward to that. The Wicked Smart listeners now can look forward to that. And it was great to have you on the show again, buddy. I look forward to doing a lot more together.
All right. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the next one there, Chris.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Wicked Smart listeners, that does wrap up our time today with our Canadian buddy, Mr. Daniel St. Jean. You know what, guys? I'd like to offer you, and I've done this on a few episodes, a free call with me personally. This is not my team members. And I'm doing this in particular because there's a window here in real estate, an opportunity window, in my opinion, okay? And you can get a lot of opinions from a lot of different people, and some of them have no clue what they're talking about, but they get paid to talk. I don't get paid to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. There is a window here, in my opinion, in the creative real estate niche, whereby you can work laser focused with the utmost intensity and do that for the next, say, year and a half. So that's going to bring you into 25. But because of that, set up potentially a decade plus of income. How? With the three paydays trademark system we have. I've had it in place since after the crash when I started laser focus in this niche after 18 years doing conventional real estate. And I want you to have your fingers on it. Every single one of you can and should be in the creative space. I'm going to tell you how you can get that call. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Chris pre-call. smartrealestatecoach.com/Chris pre-call. That's going to get you on my calendar. We'll get that firmed up if I got to move it because of conflicts, but I'll get it firmed up and we will have a nice chat together. And what will be the chat about? Whatever you want. But what I'd like you to be able to come prepared with, if you can, is, hey, Chris, here's where I am right now in my life or my business or my job. Here's where I'd like to be, and here's what's in the way, or here's my roadblocks, or here's my challenges, or here's why I haven't gone full-time. And let me help you do that, okay? So smartrealestatecoach.com/Chris pre-call. Look forward to seeing you at the next event, which is this September 23rd and 24th.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. If you're ready to invest in yourself and take your investing to the next level, check out our 90-day Jumpstart program by going to smartrealestatecoach.com/jump. That's smartrealestatecoach.com/jump, because now is the time to act boldly in this unprecedented market shift.